So, slow news day, huh?
Slow news day.
Just a slow one.
What are we going to talk about? There's like nothing out there.
You know, 10 is my favorite number. I'm gay, after all.
You
So 10 is my favorite number. Oh, and I don't know what y'all think I'm talking about, girls, but I'm talking about the number of Republican voters, votes that took place today to impeach Donald Trump.
That's good too. I thought you were thinking inches.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about myself.
Wow! You can tell Al is in a good
some
mood
information.
today.
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I had people coming to the show tonight. I had all kinds of people calling me. And the timing, please.
3, 2.
The timer. Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. We report that Ryan Murphy will film American Horror Story 10 Pilgrim in Provincetown. And in the big finish, the White House claims Donald Trump is, wait, is this correct? The most masculine president ever? You can't make this stuff up.
Today, court blocks Trump administration attempt to refuse LGBTQ asylum seekers without hearings. And in the big finish, Ivanka plans to attend the inauguration for the sake of her promising political career.
Oh, yeah.
We report in international LGBTQ news that the European Union warns countries may lose their funding over their anti-LGBTQ plus stance. And in the big finish, Kellyanne Conway's husband walks out, wants nothing to do with our family. Remember, he is the founder of the Lincoln Project.
So good evening, LGBTQ world. It's 7 p.m. Wednesday, January 13th, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. The world's first live daily queer evening news show. Out of the closet and into the headlines on Q News Tonight. Well, thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is live, unedited LGBTQ evening news show. Whatever happens, you're going to see it. This evening, we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ community from South Florida, America, and across our world. I'm your Queer News Tonight anchor, Al Ferguson, and tonight, let's welcome anchor Faye. What? She's out, she's proud, and she is most certainly loud.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. She's a Latina to be reckoned with, half Puerto Rican, half Colombian, and 100% freaking Jersey. I would have used the curse word there, but because of our guest, I didn't. She has the popular blog and YouTube channel, Faye What? Good evening, Faye.
Hola, it's impeach day. Hola, it's impeach day.
We're excited here. You'll understand why. Next, let's welcome anchor Rihanna Patrone. She's been an entertainer for 14 years and is part of the Lenore family, as well as recently voted 2020 Best Drag Queen in Palm Beach County by South Florida Gay News. You know, I've been fighting for that title for years. You can be...
Sorry about it.
Yeah, sorry about my luck. You can see her twirling and flipping at many establishments throughout South Florida. Good evening, Rihanna.
Hello, everyone.
Well, tonight we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, January 13. Of course, let's begin by queering up breaking Q news. Trump makes history today. He is impeached twice. For the LGBTQ community, there is celebration going on today on the final outcome of Donald J. Trump. History was made on Wednesday, January 13th, as the president faced an impeachment resolution in the House of Representatives. History will take note the fact that the debate on the resolution was limited to approximately 2 hours. There were no hearings, witnesses, or any of the usual issues because the sedition charges seemed to be so overwhelming, it was not required for most of the representatives. History was also made in that this was the first time a president was impeached twice. It was humiliating for the president. The debate ended at approximately 4:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Democrats mostly discussed the attack on the Capitol and the reasons this was sedition. The Republicans basically made two arguments, focusing on all of the successes of Trump in the last 4 years and that he only had 1 week left in office. But those arguments could not overcome the elephant in the room. Liz Cheney, the third most powerful Republican in the House and daughter of Vice President Dick Cheney, wrote a letter repeatedly quoted during the debate, including extensively in the final arguments by the House leader. Cheney said, quote, "Much more will become clear in coming days and the weeks, but what we know now is enough. The President of the United States summoned this mob, assembled this mob, and lit the flame of this attack. Everything that followed was his doing. None of this would have happened without the President. The President could have immediately and forcefully intervened to stop the violence. He did not. There was never been a greater betrayal by a President of the United States of his office and his oath to the Constitution. I will vote to impeach the President." The final vote on impeachment was 232 to 197, with 10 Republicans voting yes. So at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, January 13th, 2021, President Donald J. Trump is impeached again.
Again. Here is your legacy, Mr. President. Let me take that back. You, Guy, Mr. Trump, okay? You were the worst president in the history of all presidents. You had a hand in killing people, not on one occasion, but on 2 occasions, okay? With coronavirus and all your lies and the Capitol mob scene that you could have stopped. Bye, Felicia. I am a very happy person today.
Oh my God, it's a disgrace that this country's had to feel throughout the last 4 years, from violence to discrimination to persecution. It's been a scary 4 years for me, at least, and I know it has been for a lot of Americans out there, so bye-bye.
You know, it's funny, I wrote in my social media earlier in the week that I wasn't supportive of the impeachment process because I thought it deflected attention of what was really necessary in these last 10, 12 days. But I have to say that even despite that, I see the symbolism of what happened today. What is going to likely come from this impeachment with bipartisan support. Those 10 votes are saying volumes, especially Liz Cheney's vote. McConnell's observation in the Senate is saying volumes. Where this is going to lead, obviously, is preventing Donald Trump from running for elected office ever again in the United States. That's where it's going to go. Whether it's done after the inauguration or 100 days from now, what difference does it make? If it prevents and silences Donald J. Trump from elected office, all of today has been worth the horrible 2020 and the last 4 years that America, and especially the LGBTQ America, has had to endure. Goodbye. You're fired.
Queer Up Entertainment is up next. Ryan Murphy will film American Horror Story 10, Pilgrim, in Provincetown. The LGBTQ Mecca, Provincetown, Massachusetts, will be the filming location for producer Ryan Murphy's next television venture. Actors including Kathy Bates and Macaulay Culkin are due to arrive there within weeks. The project is officially known as Pilgrim, but is widely thought to be the 10th season of Murphy's American Horror Story anthology series. Primary cast members were announced, and plans were underway to start filming last year when the project was pushed back due to COVID-19 pandemic. The project moved closer to filming this week when the town's select board voted unanimously to give Murphy and 20th Century Fox permission to use up to 19 locations in town, including Commercial Street and the iconic Pilgrim Street Monument, although specifics related to the filming still have to be finalized with town manager Charlie Summer. The production will have a crew of about 100 people, filming expected to take place between February 1st and March 6th. Based on the information and graphics released so far, fans are already speculating about what season 10 of American Horror Story will be about, with guesses ranging from mermaids to aliens to Jaws tie-in. The new season is expected to air on FX as early as this fall.
Next, we queer up gay culture. 12 vainglorious photos of Antony Cesar by Verner Degray. Antony Cesar shows off photographer Verner Degray. The noted photo contributor is talented at finding subjects who haven't been seen before, such as Antony Cesar. Antony was very happy to work with Verner and had some suggestions on the best way to show his vascularity. Deep breathing, then a whole body pump, according to him, then flex every muscle you have. It fills your veins with arteries with fresh flow of blood. Well, that all sounded pretty exciting to us, and so obviously Queer News Tonight took the bait. And obviously, looking at the photos, it works. Find out more about photographer Verner Degray at his website, Instagram, and Facebook.
Those are great picks. Next, we queer up politics. Ex-log cabin leader cheers for Trump at White House despite U.S. Capitol attack. President Trump, defiant in remarks to reporters after his role in instigating the attack on the U.S. Capitol, spoke Tuesday to the media on the White House South Lawn before a crowd of supporters. And the C-SPAN camera captured among his supporters a familiar face in the LGBTQ movement, Gregory Angelo, who served as head of log cabin Republicans from 2013 to 2018, can be seen cheering on Trump less than a week after the president's remarks at the Stop the Steal rally, where he made baseless charges about election fraud and instigated the assault on the U.S. Capitol, leading to the deaths of at least 5 individuals. House Democrats moved forward with impeachment. Republican Representative Liz Cheney announced Tuesday she will vote to impeach. Angelo, applauding as Trump exited the South Portico, can be heard emphatically addressing him as president. The camera pans away as Trump delivers a wave to the crowd, then returns to show Angelo as he proclaims, "Thank you, President Trump." After he left Log Cabin, Angelo became a stalwart defender of Trump on Twitter, disputing the notion that Trump was anti-LGBTQ by pointing to openly gay appointments like Richard Grenell and the Trump administration's plan to beat HIV/AIDS by 2030. Angelo also took to Capitol Hill to lobby against passage of the Equality Act, which would amend the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to explicitly define anti-LGBTQ discrimination as a form of sex discrimination under the law.
Wow, that's intense. That's all I have to say about that. That's intense.
You know,
Scares me.
The smoking gun here is his lobbying against the Equality Act. The Equality Act is an absolute fundamental constitutional need for the LGBTQ community. And I've had this argument and debate with hosts at It's Happening Out that were members of Log Cabin Republicans and others. And now we know the president of the National Log Cabin Republicans fought against the Equality Act. It is inconceivable to me that you can be LGBTQ and Republican and fight against the Equality Act. It tells you everything that we need to know about him. Richard Grenell, Gays for Trump, Log Cabins Republicans, hashtag walk away, and all of the other of deplorables.
Gregory Angelo is one of the many still in like utter denial. He's like delusional about what's going on around him, you know? I mean, and gay Republican, those things don't even go together. You have some real issues with yourself. At the end of the day, you don't like yourself if this is what you're fighting behind. Yes. If you're still behind Trump, look in the mirror, talk to your mom, go pray.
Do something. Well, next up, queer up the USA. Court blocks Trump administration attempt to refuse LGBTQ asylum seekers without hearings. As the administration of Donald Trump winds to its inevitable end, it is returning to its roots. The White House is trying to enact some of the same kind of policies they did or tried to when Trump was first entered office, namely trying to ban immigrants. A federal judge just blocked the Trump administration's attempt to make it harder for many immigrants, especially LGBTQ people, to seek asylum in the U.S. in December. In December, the Department of Homeland Security unleashed over 400 pages of documents laying out their new procedure for turning away asylum seekers without giving them a hearing. Those who seek asylum based on problems they face from cultural stereotypes, including gender, are among the claims that DHS seeks to exclude. The changes, which would have gone into effect this week, would have instructed judges and officials to not favorably adjudicate the claims of aliens who claim persecution based on their gender, among other characteristics. Hearings for most people escaping transphobic violence and abused women would have been excluded under the rule changes. The policy would deny without a hearing. The policy could be applied to immigrants fleeing because of threats of death for being LGBTQ. On January 8th, a federal judge, James Donato, issued a nationwide injunction barring the implementation by DHS.
Well, next we're going to queer up the world. European Union warns countries they may lose funding over their anti-LGBTQ+ stance. Following a deal made in December in regards to the European Charter of Fundamental Rights, the European Union may withhold funding from countries and projects which discriminate against people based on gender, race, or sexuality. Euractiv issued a statement saying, quote, "When you're supporting EU-funded projects in member states, there is an obligation both by the EU and also by the member states to ensure that these projects are complying with the Charter of Fundamental Rights," end quote. While all countries are already expected to respect the Charter, there was not previously such a heavy suggestion that human rights abuses could result in funding being withheld in the EU. The new announcement will create a showdown with the presidents of both Poland and Hungary that aggressively curtailed LGBTQ rights in their countries. The so-called LGBTQ-free zones will face fierce review by the EU. In September, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen strongly condemned Poland's LGBTQI free zones while delivering her first State of the Union address. Von der Leyen stated, quote, "So I want to be crystal clear. LGBTQI free zones are humanity-free zones, and they have no place in our union. Because being yourself is not your ideology, it's your identity, and no one can ever take that away from you." Well, that is our queer headlines for today. Let's catch up now on LGBTQ news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies. Tonight, we report the devastating effect coronavirus has had on the American and worldwide LGBTQ community in total cases and deaths. Today, Wednesday, January 13th, we have hit the highest single day of total cases and deaths. It appears that 1 year since coronavirus began in the United States, that January 2021 will become the worst month yet for the pandemic.
This kind of, when you have a nota, in Spanish, a nota is like when you have like a high, right? So I had a high over the second impeachment, and then I saw these numbers and it was like, fwah, fwah. It was like, like my Woody went, fwah. It's super sad times right now, and the vaccines are coming out as fast as possible. I'm so glad that the CDC decided to release the second set of vaccines instead of holding on to them for the people that have already gotten their vaccines. So to all the people out there, if you've got older folks, neighbors, abuelas, abuelos, your dad, your father, your mother, get them to get vaccinated. Get them signed up for it. It's so important. These numbers will go down, but it's going to take some time.
Yes, it does. You wear your masks. Go out, if you're going to go out in public, wear your masks. When you sit down, you get to take them off, so you don't have to wear them the entire time. I know they're annoying. I know they're irritating as that word. So just wear them, and then these numbers will go down, and thank God we have this new vaccine so we can all get back to semi-normal life.
The jump off the page is the numbers that you're seeing here. As far as I know, we are just about the only place that I'm aware of that are reporting and focusing on the pandemic in the LGBTQ community. Through today, in the United States, 27,332 LGBT Americans have lost their lives. 1.6 million infected, and worldwide in our family community, 138,000 plus people have lost their lives. The fight on COVID is not over, even with the vaccines. So it's important that in these last months, we commit to try to hold these numbers down as much as we possibly can. Well, that is our COVID-19 news for tonight. Next, we report that Happening Out Television Network helps support our LGBTQ community. An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set in supporting that partnership here. The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it's totally live. We encourage you to tune in. Our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Evans. I am the editor-in-chief and publisher of Outclick magazine, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Well, Queer News Tonight is proud to support our South Florida events and local festivals, and tonight we are pleased to speak with one of the women making a difference with a specific lesbian focus in our community, and that is Alison Burgos. Alison is one of the women behind Pandora Events, the powerhouse LGBTQ event production company from South Florida that has created and produced the hottest women's soirees in the country, including Girls in Wonderland in Orlando, Aqua Girl, Peach Atlanta, Women's White Party, and the official women's events at Miami Beach Pride. Alison is no stranger to organizing and promoting large-scale events and drawing a crowd, with her events attracting over 20,000 people annually. Her passion to create a safe, positive, world-class experience for her community, all while doing good, is the cornerstone to her success. She founded Aqua Girl, the largest charity women's festival in the country, and co-founded its beneficiary Aqua Foundation, and has supported a variety of LGBTQ charities, including SAVE, HRC, the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, Aqua Foundation, and is currently on the National Advisory Board of the National Center for Lesbian Rights. Her brand, Pandora Events, doesn't just talk the talk, they donate over $50,000 a year to these worthy causes. In 2014, Alison took the leap into conscious and sustainable plant-based wellness, which helped her find relief when she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. She is sharing her journey in Alison fashion by creating the first plant-based food and wine festival in the country, called Seed Food and Wine, which was named by USA Today as one of the top 5 food and wine festivals in the country. Joining to tell us a bit more about some of the things to come in the future, please welcome co-founder Alison Burgos to Queer News Tonight. Good evening, Alison.
Hi,
Woohoo!
thanks so much for having me.
Woo!
I'm clapping for her.
We are excited that you're here at Q News. I've heard, this is the first time we've met, but I've heard so much. I've been to your event in Orlando before. Tell us about, first, before we talk about the foundation and your work, tell us what it's been like in 2020 and pandemic. We're in the first days of 21, but tell us about what the last year has been like in dealing with pandemic.
Sure. So, on both a personal and professional side, it's been really devastating. Personally, at the beginning of 2020, my mother was diagnosed with lung cancer, and soon after passed away. So right at the end of March, when we had just started quarantining. So it's kind of a double blow emotionally to be in that situation. And we made a decision early on as a production company that, at first we were postponing things till later in the year, but as we got into summer, we realized that we just had to take the whole year and close it down and be safe. It was difficult. This is not only our livelihood as a company, but also, the other nonprofits, organizations that we work with also were struggling. How to raise money when you're not having events, people are unemployed. How do you keep people connected? How do you keep the community engaged and supporting each other? So on both sides, it was difficult.
Alison is so humble. She's so humble.
We did start doing a few fun online little Zoom parties just to be able to connect, just to be able to check in with each other and share our experiences and our stories and know that, we're all here. We're all here. We love each other and we stand for each other and we support each other through this time, looking forward to 2021 and where we're going now.
I'm my broadcast partner here, Faye. I understand you two have a long association with each other. The events that you plan, I Faye's in the L of our LGBTQ community. I'm in the G and in our community. How do your events and how do girls' events differ to the guys' events? Do they change at all? Lots of discussion right now in COVID about events. Are girls' events different than guys' events?
Sure. I think that there are some really traditional differences. I talk about this all the time. I mean, I've been doing events for 20 years, and I've talked about this many times with the gentlemen producers in the community as well as nonprofits. Women are looking, men, I think sometimes with larger events, especially dance parties and circuit parties, there's a particular style of music they like. They are really looking for I don't want to say, it feels a little bit more like a sexualized experience. Hot and heavy, crowded, not that women don't like a crowd, but women are looking to connect and in a little bit more of a social way. The music I think is a little bit different. The price points are definitely different. I think there's we joke around at a men's pool party, they're tanned, they've been working out for weeks, and there's a lot of kind of posing and positioning. Women are like in the pool.
We let it all hang
They're
out.
like,
yeah.
top off, drinking a cocktail. It definitely has a little bit of a different vibe. One thing I do love is, in the past, we've seen that women's events and men's events in the LGBT community were separate. Men were not necessarily welcome to women's events. Women were not necessarily welcome and accepted in men's events. We've tried to break that in that tradition in the events we do. LGBTQ, our entire community is welcome. Gentlemen are welcome. I hope you felt welcome when you came to our event.
I did, absolutely.
We're looking to create a safe space and a positive space for our entire community. And, but yeah, our music definitely, I think our vibe feels a little different than the men's. Don't get me wrong, I love a men's party. You will catch me when my event closes. When I was younger, many times at the after hours, hanging out. So
Well, and
all to it.
I have to say that, Alison, I mean, you are so humble. You've done so much for our community, and thank you for everything that you and your organizations have done. You're just incredible. And as someone that has worked with you for 20 years, you know, when I was 10 years old, right? You know, I've hosted stuff for you for Aqua. I've hosted stuff for you in Girls in Wonderland. I mean, there hasn't been an event that you haven't thrown me in there
Yep.
somewhere, you know.
For
And
sure.
I'm blessed to say that I love you and your family. You guys have been amazing. You know, they keep it different. They switch it up. It's been 20 years. Like, how do you do the same thing over and over? They don't. Every single year they kind of see and they poll girls and what do you want to see? What do you want to do? What kind of music are you into now? They do that because they want to bring the best of the best to these women, you know. They compete with the Dinah Shore, you know, of the West Coast, and that's not easy to do, you know. I was going to ask you something. I wanted your opinion on this, Miss Alison. So a couple of weeks ago, we did a story on the fact that there's only 15 lesbian bars left in the whole country, when maybe 10 years ago there were like 200.
Yeah.
What's your point of view on that?
You know, I think it's sad, but it's understandable. You know, years ago, I had the Sea Monster, the Women's Saturday Night Sea Monster party that ran strong for 7 years, and Pandora. We had the party in Miami, Splat. You know, the Ozone Party, Cherry Pie, and those were amazing. We did between
Oh, I
five.
got pregnant there.
Yeah,
I
we
got
did.
pregnant there one time. Twice.
We did. You know, we did. You know, between 500 and 1,000 women every night at those events, every week. And what I learned as not only an event producer, but also as an activist, the more we were able to secure our rights and create a space where people could come out and be authentic to who they are, and be able to share who they are with their family, with their coworkers, with their friends, be able to walk along Miracle Mile or Las Olas holding their girlfriend's hand. The invitation of social media, I think that women's bars started to see a trend, a downward attendance trend, a little different than men's bars. You know, a woman, I think, again, it's more of a social experience. And if she can have that social experience somewhere else, it makes things, you know, it makes these clubs become too niche.
Does that mean, and that's an interesting observation, I haven't heard it phrased exactly like that.
Sure.
Does that mean that as acceptance continues to grow, that traditional identity in the lesbian community will lessen and lessen, that it will integrate much more into the general population community?
I mean, that's what I see. That's what I see. I think it's a shame. I think anytime there's an opportunity to support one of these women's bars that have stayed the test of time, you should do that whenever you can. But I also understand, you know, I'm a mom now. My son's here with us tonight, and you know, when we go out to dinner, we'll go out for a cocktail. I don't always go to an LGBT establishment, or I mean, you know, we don't really have a women's woman's presence anymore like we did with Sea Monster or New Moon. You know, I mean, Carol and Nancy do a great job at 9F, but you know, I think that's more of a wine, very small place. Yeah, a little bit of a bar.
Appetizer and wine.
But I do, you know, even when we travel, I do try to, you know, I make sure when I'm in Orlando, I stop by Southern Nights or Honey Pot, or I'm in Atlanta, I stop by my sister's room or Henrietta Hudson's and Stonewall. I mean, give it up for Stacy and Lisa C and everybody. You know, Sue Ellen's. I mean, when you're in those communities or visiting those communities, you know, please support your LGBT clubs and venues, because they're struggling, and I am afraid that they will all be gone.
Yeah. And that challenge is across the board. LGBTQ, it's complete.
Yeah.
There needs to be a support embracement, especially because of COVID. Alison, I want to ask you about, I want to come back to the Orlando event. When I went I've been to Girls in Wonderland, a couple of your pool parties. One of the time, I was sponsor of Gay Days. And one of the years that I was sponsor of Gay Days, I came to one of your parties, and I had we came to your party with 5 RuPaul queens, but they were as boys at the time. And almost nobody knew who they were because they weren't the RuPaul personality that they were on the show. We were very welcomed. And in fact, there was a lot of anxiety about it. I said, oh, well, let's go and see the event because of what we were doing at Gay Days and et cetera. And we were, and especially the queens, they were, as boys, they were very surprised at how they were embraced. June's coming, and you know what happened in 2020 because of COVID. Tell us about what's going to happen with Girls in Wonderland this year.
Sure, I will. I will say that means my team and we did our job, because I was very happy to hear that, because we want everyone to feel welcome. We get a lot of like lesbian girls that are friends with gay men that say, look, one night come to my party, one night I'll go to your party.
Right.
And we also get a lot of
Actually, we had some friends, and that's exactly how that was part of how we ended up there.
And we also have a lot of male couples, gay male couples that come to our events because they get a little frustrated at some of the men's parties that they're getting kind of hit on a lot, and they just want to be able to be on a dance floor, be in a crowd, feel the safety of an LGBT community, but maybe not be kind of hit on or. So we do get quite a bit of that, and we totally welcome everyone to come on down and have fun with us. Yeah. So, yes, something that we were really excited about was when we did cancel 2020, which was heartbreaking for us, but the safe, responsible thing to do.
And can I say that you were one of the first organizations to come up and say, look, we're not gonna say another date. That's it. We're gonna keep the safety of our patrons as paramount, and we're not. So thank you for that as well.
Oh, thank you. But we had a very, very low cancellation rate. So everybody who was booked for 2019 is already ready to go and booked for 2021. We are a go for 2021. We've met with Disney. We've met with the city, with the health department there in Kissimmee and Orlando and Lake Buena Vista area, and we're excited. We are going to do everything we can to create a really safe bubble for our audience and attendance. The resort is going through extra cleaning and sanitizing measures for all the rooms and all the common areas. We're eliminating room service, and we're creating a kind of a lesbian bubble, as we call it. So what'll happen is
a lesbian bubble.
A lesbian bubble, right?
A boob bubble,
right?
Right.
So what will we
I've never heard that phrase before.
Me neither. We got hot in here. God, that's like my dream. Oh, I'm sorry.
Not only will we have sanitation stations throughout each event at the front entrance and exit of each event, we'll be doing temperature checks, but when you check in to our welcome center and to our resort, you'll be able to turn in either your vaccination certificate, a antibody test from the past week, or a negative COVID test from the past 48 hours. If you don't have one of those, we've made arrangements to have a wellness team there that'll give you a 15-minute rapid test. You'll get your negative, you'll turn that in, and then you'll get a COVID-safe wristband that you'll be wearing throughout the weekend. So we're excited about that. I'm excited to be connected. I miss, I've been doing this for 20 years because I love our community.
You're excited that the girls are going to get back together.
Yeah.
Going to get back and naked.
I miss that. I miss the energy of being in a space with women and with LGBT people and celebrating who we are and being authentic to ourselves. I miss it, and I can't wait.
Alison, remind us the dates for Wonderland are going to be?
My goodness, like June, I don't know.
The
June.
first weekend
It's
in
the
June,
first Saturday in
Alison.
June. I think it's like June 3rd through the 6th or
Right,
something in that
okay,
zone.
all right,
And
we got it.
You go to
And-
girlsinwonderland.com and
And
all that stuff
right,
there.
repeat that for
girlsinwonderland.com.
Right, exactly. And anything else?
yeah,
any
real-
immediate plans?
Real quick, tell us when your seed festival is going to be this year.
I have a bunch of stuff. I'll be quick. So we do have our Seed Food and Wine Festival coming back. It's in November. I think we'll be in a great space then. As I'm doing with Girls in Wonderland this year with Seed, mostly all of our events will be outdoors. So that's November. It's the first week in November or the second week. I'm finalizing that now. We also have something that came part of Pandora was our Rainbow Nest. We just launched that as a nonprofit organization. And our next Making Babies is on February 24th. That is a online free workshop. We help give advice and expertise on helping build and grow your LGBT family, having children, whether it's adoption, surrogacy, egg retrieval, fostering, financials, legals. We have great experts like Liz Schwartz and all kinds, doctors that come on. And last but not least, we also work around women in sexual wellness. So we have a website called Kitty's Toy Box. The start of the year is a great time to take care of yourself, whether you want to explore your sexual wellness or as a couple explore together. So I created a 25% off code. It's happening out 25% off all of those fun things. What else do I have going on? And that's it.
That's a full plate.
That's a lot.
That's
What else do I have
that's a
going
full
on? And I have a
calendar
wife,
right there.
And I have a kid.
Being a mom.
Well, Alison, we are thrilled that you've been here tonight at Queer News Tonight. Our show needs to step up more for the girls. And,
For the L, baby, for the L.
That's right. And
Go
we make
L.
that commitment early in 2021 that Queer News Tonight steps up more for the girls, and we commit to doing that.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you invited me. I was grateful to see Faye and be a part of the show. And I'd love to come back anytime and talk about
Lots of things.
lots of
to keep
LGBT,
the
All things
lesbian,
girls.
women
community
things.
going. Well, Alison Burgos, thank you very much for being with us tonight at Queer News Tonight. Next up, we'd like to thank our set designer from Steptoe Modern Living here in Fort Lauderdale for making this set in this amazing queer church campus possible.
We finally thank Queer News Tonight's hotel sponsor, Best Western, I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our hosts and guests stay at this LGBTQ ally partner. We encourage you to stay when visiting South Florida.
Faye, you want to lead us into the big finish?
Sure. We end tonight's broadcast with the big finish. Today's silly or news that entertains the LGBTQ community.
All right. Well, first up, in the bit, ask me later what just happened, because it's a really interesting story. In the big finish, White House claims Donald Trump is, quote, the most masculine president ever. That's what the press secretary just said.
Yeah. The most masculine, the most
Okay.
orange, the most
Sure.
a-hole, the most demonic, the most narcissist maybe, but
The
the
poor
most
queen.
masculine, no creo. I don't see it.
What do you think?
Someone needs to fix that nose.
You know, one of the things that I hate about this and what the press secretary said is I feel kind of being lumped into this box of what the toxic white masculinity in America is all about. And please, God,
Not Harry Potter.
I reject it. I reject it. I
Reject it.
Yeah,
Great picks though, thank you.
Exactly. All right. Well, in the big finish, I love me. No, I don't. Some Ivanka. Ivanka plans on attending the inauguration next week, but for the sake of her own promising political career.
Oh,
Really?
Come on, do me a favor.
The
Don't
big
show up.
finish. Kellyanne Conway's husband walks out. Wants nothing to do with our family.
Rihanna doesn't want to talk
Daughter
about Ivanka
claim.
at all. So
No,
she's like, no.
No Ivanka.
We're not even
No.
talking about Ivanka.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And as she said, Kellyanne in the big finish, Kellyanne Conway's husband has walked out, wants nothing to do with the family. What do y'all think about what's going on with Kellyanne Conway?
Oh yeah, we thought we had a bad year, huh? Poor
She's
woman.
falling apart.
She's falling apart. She needs Botox. I mean, she's a mess. Her husband left her. Her daughter's a pain in the ass little girl doing TikTok videos about her mom. I mean, and now her husband left them too. Oh man, I want to feel sorry
he said
for her.
clocking
but
out.
I want to feel sorry for her, but I don't like her enough to. You know?
Yeah.
I don't like her face.
Maybe Kellyanne will come to Florida and help run the Ivanka for governor campaign. Maybe that's
Oh, Lord.
next. for
Maybe.
her.
So that is today's news for today's LGBTQ
Is that
community.
today's news?
Yeah, that's today's news.
Is it? All
Lots
right.
of it.
That's
huh?
it.
Yeah. For the LGBTQ
Slow day.
community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share this news. We are the only television live video news that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of anchors Faye What and Rihanna Patron, we will see you daily and tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Good night, America.